something good, and we're making it good now. And thank you very much.
Dr. Ariel. Dr. Ariel, please step and get pinned by Dr. Fisher, our Chief Medical Officer. Now I'd like to invite Anahis Correa, who will be here to join us and share a couple words about the ICU. Anahis.
Hello, everyone. During the peak of this pandemic, we saw great pain and suffering, more than we thought we'd see in our lifetimes. The public called us heroes. They gave us that name and made it seem as though we gained special abilities overnight. They made it seem like what we did was supernatural, something out of the ordinary. However, the reality was quite the opposite. Never before did we feel more human. We witnessed how fragile life can truly be. Every day we came to face to face with our own impermanence, and it was very clear to us that we were not invincible, and that we were not immune. Reflecting back on the last year and a half, there are moments when the pain, the fear, the anxiety, they all return. But I find comfort in one thing, that we always led with our hearts. We did not lose our humanity, despite the pain, despite the fear, despite the anxiety, and despite the uncertainty. I saw immense levels of compassion, and not for patients, families, and staff. And to my ICU peeps, I'm extremely honored to lead such an extraordinary team. I'm proud of you and everything you've accomplished. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you so much, Anahis. And as Anahis gets pinned by Elaine Schauer, I welcome our emergency department representatives who will be joining us on stage, Katie Shia and Christina Harsh. Please join us.
My daughter Ava, who is now 2, was exactly 6 months old the day that we saw our first COVID-19 patient here at MLK. Caring for one COVID patient felt like a huge feat at that time. Little did I know that we would go on to help care for 6,920 total COVID patients over the next year. I remember going home that day, and as a new mom, I sat there watching my child sleep, as I'm sure most of us have done. And in the silence of the night, I thought about the story I wanted to be able to look back someday and tell my daughter about this time in her life. I didn't want my daughter to hear about how her mom was scared of the danger that lay before me. Tell my daughter about how her mom saw people in need, and when she had the choice to do what was right or what was easy, her mom put her scrubs on and walked into that danger head on. I wanted to be a part of something bigger. And for me, MLK was that something. I have always said that there is something about being inside these walls, caring for people, that absolutely sets my soul on fire in the best way possible. Throughout the pandemic, my passion for being a nurse and caring for others was fueled. And what I found so inspiring throughout the midst of the chaos around us, I saw every single person I work with had the same fire burning inside them. It was unspoken most times, but I could see it in the eyes of everyone around me. It was just a certain inner strength that we found, and we just refused to give up. Even in the darkest moments of the pandemic, I'm proud to say that that fire still burned inside every single one of us here at MLK. While 1,683 patients were admitted, I always think about the other 5,237. The 5,237 people who we helped who were discharged home to their families. And that's the story that I'll tell my daughter someday. Not about the things that we lost, but I'll tell her about the people that we saved. I will tell her about how when the world was on fire around us, we used it as our fuel to care for those who needed us the most. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Katie. Christina Harsh will be joining her on behalf of the ED to be pinned. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and invite Sean Smith, who will be representing our Public Safety Department. Sean.
Hello, all of our caregivers. I say that with all honesty to our fellow PSOs who I work with, and excuse me, I'm already emotional. Over the last 2 years, it's been a very trying time. It was, where you had to pull everything that you had inside of you out. And as I stood by my fellow PSOs who showed up every day, as we debriefed and we talked about what floors had patients that needed to be escorted to, nursing staff, medical staff, anyone in this hospital that passed through the front doors needed attention. I just felt so honored to be here. I wasn't able a lot of times to see people smile anymore, which I love a smile. So I had to start doing what my parents always told me, look at someone in their eyes. And as I looked at everyone in their eyes, I started seeing hope, cheer on, sadness, a fight. And all that did was just fuel me to say, thank you, God. Thank you for placing me in this healthcare industry where I had no idea I would be in my age at this time. But I think I was given this gift to share with you all here. And to say that every day I come here, I want you all to know, I see you. You are seen. If any time and if ever a place that you need to take a remembrance at a moment in your car, walking out the door, at home, church, just anywhere in the bathtub, whatever it finds you, you know? Wherever you find yourself, take that moment and reflect on that you're here. You matter and you count. And everyone who we saw fall, like my fellow coworker and friend and brother, Jerry McGrew, we lost him. It hurt deeply. We have the wellness crew here to help us, and I was so happy because as my leadership team talked to us and we could all barely look and dig the will to come back and say, you know what? We still have a job to do. We still have more work to do. So as I saw all of my brothers and sisters run in whenever we have a psych patient blowing up over there, they still ran in. Whenever, you know, the doors were closing, they were there to open those doors again. And with all of that, I just say to you, keep honoring yourself. Keep honoring all of us that show up. Inspire somebody else to show up by just simply sometimes smiling with your eyes. If you can't, throw out a fist pump like we used to, an elbow, and even now we can hug again. So I just say share that because I'm grateful that we are here and you all are seen.
Thank you so much, Sean. I'd like to go ahead and now invite our EBS transport team, Kenneth Ludgood will be speaking on behalf of his team, and he's joined by Debbie Reyes.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Sometimes we don't say hello, we just walk by. But the one thing I can always say, Debbie right here, me and her, we go back and forth, we talk, you know. But the one moment that I didn't talk to her was I actually had a personal friend of mine that I had to take to the morgue. And I was on my way to work, you know, Facebook going off. Oh, Isaac, I'm like, oh, then Isaac, common name. Then his brother texted me, hey, you know, my brother's there. I was like, oh, yes, he is. I get the call, ED21. Go by. Oh my God. Told my coworker, Doc, let's relax for a minute. Say, because this is personal right now. We as transporters, we do our job, going about it. Everybody look at us like, oh, how y'all do it? Mentally, we gotta block it out. Some of us go home with it. I don't. I get my car, boom, some music on, it's gone. Come back the next day. But when I didn't talk to this lady for that 3 hours, I was mentally checked out. Like, you know what? I ain't coming back tomorrow. This the last time she gonna see me. I'm done. But then I went back to what my mom always say. It's not you, it's God. And that was the only person that made me say, you know what, Ken? It's not your choice to give up. Because I placed you there. The job didn't call you, hey, we got something for you. You chose that field. It wasn't your choice. I chose you to be there because you have a gift of helping someone, talking to someone, supporting someone. Use it. One thing I can always say, everybody out here, you may not know your gift, you are the gift.
And Debbie. At this time, I'd like to invite floors 3, 4, and 5. We have Danya Diop, who will be joining us today, and she also has with her Maui and Judith, I believe. Come on up. Let's welcome Danya.
Good morning. I'm Danya Diop, and I'm speaking on behalf of the 5th floor, 4th floor, and 3rd floor med-surg tele. I began working for MLKCH before the hospital was open to patients. The rooms were empty, no beds, and no equipment yet. We saw the first patient admitted to MLKCH, and that patient probably felt a little over-pampered because the whole team was taking care of that one patient. Our population grew and grew, and MLKCH earned the title of the best place to work. No one could foresee that the whole entire hospital would be filled to capacity with COVID-19 patients. We saw the first COVID-19 patient admitted to the 5th floor. I cannot dismiss the suffering and the loss of lives that we experienced due to COVID-19. Yet at the same time, it would be remiss of me not to mention the positive outcomes. Despite any fears or emotions that anyone had, we all showed up. We came despite that to help our patients heal. There's no robot. We've often been threatened with robots taking over our jobs. No robot can take the place of a caring nurse or concerned doctor or any of our other healthcare team taking care of a dying patient or a suffering patient. No matter what the title, we were all in the same boat of humanity, trying to stay afloat. Another positive outcome is the stigma of mental illness was removed. Again, we were all in the same boat. Even the strongest of us was vulnerable to the emotional turmoil that COVID caused. MLKCH offered excellent support services that are still ongoing even 2 years after COVID-19 began. I saw patients become better and heal due to all of our team members working together, pulling together and making this happen. I saw outsiders that saw us and decided to help. They provided PPE and donations and anything they could to help us. They saw us, they knew what we were going through. So I learned what it really means, what it truly means to live. We're all here, and that's such a blessing. And I also learned that MLKCH remains the best place to work.
Thank you so much, Danya. At this time, I'd like to invite the pharmacy team led by Nubar Patikian, who is also joined by Crystal Castaneda and Nanya Madhu.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for listening to my short speech here. The COVID pandemic really is memorialized with a story for me. So I'm going to take you back to December 23rd of 2020 and what happened on that day. So at 11:33 p.m., I got a text from Dr. Ardondo and Dr. Presto and Anais saying we ran out of propofol as an organization. So this was a time where there was a shortage of PPE, a shortage of medications, a shortage of staff. So what did we do? Did we give up? Did we simply say we're not going to sedate our patients? Of course not. So I sat in a car and drove halfway across town and found a source of propofol for our patients. And yes, I have the pictures to prove it. My wife is an attorney, so I don't know if that was even legal, but we did it, simply. So that was just one story. It's been rough, like Dr. Ardondo mentioned. I mean, losing personal family members, losing friends. My own mom was in the hospital for about 21 days and was taken care of by an employee who used to work here. So, I mean, I cannot even begin to put into words what this was like. But I wanted to end with something positive. I'm so incredibly proud to work in this community and to work with my team members and this organization. It's just an honor and a privilege to serve this community. As a kid that grew up in East LA, from an immigrant family, I mean, I couldn't have chosen a better job and a better community to serve. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Nubar. This concludes the portion of sharing, but I want to take a moment and pause and just give a huge round of applause for all of our employees who shared today. Such incredible stories. Now at this time, I would like to go ahead and invite our other departments and units to be pinned by one of our senior leaders, just as you saw moments ago. So at this time, as I call up your name and your department, please walk in front of the podium and directly to one of our leaders who will be waiting to receive you. Of course, if we had endless time, we would hear every single story, but we will get to that in a moment and an opportunity to do this later. So I'd like to go ahead and thank our staff here. Let's start with our dietary team, Laureen Dozier. And from our L&D team, Gina Paz, Labor and Delivery. I believe we have a few representatives who had to be on the floor today, but let's give a round of applause to our Peri-Op team who can join us today, but here with us in spirit. Same thing goes for, apologies. We do have representative from social work. Marianne McCarr. Marianne, please stand up. Choose your leader. They're all here for you. And now from Care Management, we have Rosita Sanchez. Rosita. From Materials Management, Diana Gonzalez. From our Rehab Department, we have Taryn Park. From our ambulatory practice sites, I believe we have, is Roxana? She's not here. Dr. Meehan, would you like to join us? Or do we have Roxana? Roxana, come on up, please. And Cindy Cepeda. Cindy, please join us. And she doesn't know we're calling her up, but this woman needs no introduction. From Employee Health, Rhonda Robinson. Rhonda, we love you. We love you all, actually. I just want to take a moment and just quickly define what this pinning represents. The pinning is truly a symbol for this moment as it represents all that we've been through. It's a moment to commend you. It's a moment to thank you for all of your service and your work. As Jeff said, the seen and the unseen. So take this moment, and I just want to go ahead and thank all of the departments, many of whom we were not able to bring up today, but know that we recognize you, we see you, and we thank you. So let's go ahead and give them a So I just want to take a moment also to explain what you just saw and our plans moving forward with this pinning ceremony. Thank you to our pinners for being up there. I believe that from the marketing department and organizational development department, we are just so excited that you are all here to witness the elements of this program. Our hope and our intent is for the leaders who are in this room today and their proxies to take what you experienced, what you heard, what you felt, take them to your huddles, take them to your department meetings, take them to your one-on-ones with your employees as we close out the year. And we ask that you be inspired to offer your own take to what you experienced here today. However that looks and feels right for your departments. So can I just get a applause? Like, are we good to go with that? Everyone in? Leaders, are we in? Yeah, let's take it home. Bring it home to your departments, please. Again, the team members that were honored here today and so many behind the scenes, they are the hands and hearts of our organization. And recognizing this moment in a meaningful way, recognizing that we do strive to have a humanizing work environment in every way we can, shows our respect and our honoring of our employees and their well-being as a whole person. So thank you for taking the time to do that. After this program adjourns, just across the way, our table set up with leadership toolkits filled with pins that you saw today, commemorative photo books filled with quotes submitted by the employees themselves, gosh, what was it, months ago, but we're excited for all of that to memorialize this moment. Also included are vaccination cards. If you haven't gotten your vaccine, please make sure you do. Just a gentle nudge and reminder. But again, please take a checklist with you, which will be also included in the bags. The checklist hopefully will spark ideas for our leaders in this room to, again, complete and tailor an experience that you saw today for your teams. So at this time, I'd like to go ahead and invite Dr. Batchelor, our Chief Executive Officer, to the stage.
Good morning. How are you doing? That was pretty intense, huh? Really takes us back. So, every day that we provide high quality care for our patients, we are defying expectations. Expectations for what's possible in an underserved community like ours. When the COVID pandemic hit, we again defied expectations for what could be done in one of the hardest hit areas of our country. Every day you came to work in the face of fear, fatigue, emotional trauma, and took care of our patients and our community and did it in phenomenal fashion. You set up extra beds, you set up extra tents, you drove hours to pick up supplies, equipment, and medications. You learned how to prone patients in the ICU. And you held the hand of every patient who couldn't have family there with them. We heard a little bit about some of the things that we lost during the pandemic. Patients, people close to us, time. But we also heard about what we gained. And I just want to tell you, Katie, that fire that's burning inside of each of us is the best of humanity. And that's what we saw over the past 2 years. Thanks to all of you, we made it through, and we're stronger together. Now, we know we didn't do all of this alone. Our community gathered around us. They took care of us while we took care of them. They brought us food, they sewed masks for us. They brought anything they thought would help us. And here this morning with us is one of those people who took care of us during the pandemic. He's someone who represents our community and fights for our community every day. He's a friend who showed up when we needed legislation to enable us to create our new medical group. He was there for us when the state was going through a financial crisis and we thought our supplemental funding might be cut. And he made sure it wasn't. And he showed up again for us during the pandemic. You may not know this story, but I know this story. On Christmas Eve, Assemblyman Gibson called me and said, "Hey, I'm going to write a letter to the governor and tell him what's going on in our community and in our hospital." We both wrote a letter to the governor. And on December 26th at 6 o'clock, the state and the county both showed up here at the hospital and met with us and asked us what we needed and made sure we got what we needed, including the National Guard, temporary nurses, temporary respiratory therapists. I'm so grateful for the support and advocacy of Assemblyman Gibson. He's from our community. He understands our community, and he loves our community. And he's here today to tell us about something else very special that he's done for us. Assemblyman Gibson, please go.
Thank you very much, Dr. Batchelor, and to all of you who gather here at this place that's very special to me. I want to start off by thanking my team for writing me a speech that I'm not going to use. Victor, I'm sorry. And the reason why that is because I was sitting next to Dr. Batchelor a few moments ago, and I just whispered, I said, why am I getting emotional? I got emotional hearing the testimonies, the repeated testimonies, the humanity that showed up in this place in a real way. Those who got choked up, those who refused to throw in the towel. And when those people who felt like throwing in the towel, guess what? There was somebody there throwing the towel right back at you, telling you get back in the ring and fight again. And so for me, this hospital is absolutely at the top of my list and as a priority, as a member of the state legislature. Why is that? Because I was born in this community. This community raised me. It is those forefathers and mothers who I have an absolute obligation, because they have allowed me to stand on their shoulders. And I understand my obligation, but most importantly, I understand my why. And I think that each and every one of you today, under the sound of my voice, and those who are not here, those who are providing life-saving care for those who absolutely need it, you understand your why too. Because if you did not understand your why, you would not be here at this hospital. And I know it got tough. I know it got tough. I know that sometimes you lose a patient and you take that to your home. And then you got to get back in your car and come back here and do it again by trying to help somebody. And I am foolish enough to believe that each and every person you touched, you made a difference, because you said that even though your DNA doesn't match the person you're now helping, they are still important. Because it could be your mother, it could be your father, your sister, your brother, your aunt, somebody who you helped. You made a difference in their families' lives by pulling them through, that they are here with us today. And so I understand the mental anguish, the trauma that you also had to go through as as ambassadors to help those who are sick who comes in through these doors. I want to say, as a child of Watts, I am indeed grateful. And so when we were going through the budget, the California state budget, Dr. Batchelor, and I flew from Sacramento here. I live in Carson, but I got off of the freeway here, and it was around nighttime. And I just parked right out there and stood and looked at this hospital. And I was almost feeling like I was, in a football game, sitting on the sideline, and there was someone telling me, oh, it was my mother. Get back, go back to Sacramento, and do your best, and get some more money, so it can make the difference, not only in the work that you do day in and day out, but for those who will come through these doors. You make the difference. And I speak on behalf of everyone that you have touched, that you've made a difference in their life. Understand this, you matter. You matter. For those of you who've gotten pins, I want to say thank you very much. You are our heroes and our sheroes in our community, and I am indeed grateful. For the work that you do day in and day out, sometimes people don't say thank you, but I'm here to say thank you for all the hard work, for not giving up when you wanted to give up, not listening to your tired body who wanted you to sit on the sideline. You stood in the gap and you made the difference. And once again, you understand your purpose and you understand that you matter to the lives of the individuals that come seeking your healing touch. Before I got here today, I think it's absolutely befitting. I was at a funeral a few moments ago of someone who watched me grow up in church. He was our deacon at my very, very first church. And I was reading his obituary, and I had forgotten about this. His name is Deacon Bernie Carson. And the reason why this is relevant to me is because when I was reading his obituary, the first job he worked as a construction trade supervisor was at Martin Luther King Hospital when the hospital was first built. And then he came back and built this one. Built this one. And this hospital not only made a difference in the Carson's families' lives, but it's an indication of the work that you do day in and day out. And so with the money that I'm happy to present, I'm excited to present this so that, again, that Martin Luther King Community Hospital is here to support critical treatment services, focus on the aftermath of COVID-19, and increase the behavioral health for counselors and workforce development, and so that you can continue to do the work that you've been called to do. So it gives me great pleasure to present this check, and this check is a big check, to Martin Luther King Community Hospital for a check of $10 million.